Hello dear colleagues, and today we continue our course about medical decision support systems based on artificial intelligence. And today we'll have a short lecture about why is machine learning is necessary in healthcare at all. And in the first module we will determine the importance of learning and fundamentals of clinical medicine learning for all stakeholders in the healthcare ecosystem. Consider the origins of machine learning in healthcare, understand the context and the principles of common terms and definitions in machine learning. We will identify important relationships between areas of machine learning, for example, biostatistics and traditional computer programming. We'll identify the limitations of the machine learning approach in healthcare. We'll describe the basic principles of developing machine learning applications and how they are implemented in healthcare. Initially, all AI technologies were used in the medicine to simplify access to information. This task was done manually long before the advent of computer technology. So, since 1879, the US National Library of Medicine began to create and publish the so-called Index Medicus, a comprehensive guide to the world of medical journals. It was aimed to lead to the creation of the first AI solution in the field of medicine. In 1964, a literature analysis system was created. It was called Medlar's Medical Literature Analysis and Retrieval System. This system for the analysis of medical literature and obtaining data from it appeared in the US National Library of Medicine, and with the transfer of this system to an online format with 1971, the system evolved into a Medline system that still operates today. Medlayers Online, so it's Medline. The system widely uses artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms in its work, and it's a kind of medical Google for search scientific literature. In 1973, Stanford was one of the first institutions to launch a program aimed at applying artificial intelligence to research and solve biological and medical problems. This program was called SUMIX-AIM, Stanford University Medical Experimental Computer for Artificial Intelligence in Medicine. Projects that came out of the project SUMIX-AIM, they were applications of artificial intelligence to solve complex diagnostic problems in the procedures involving infectious disease, anti-cancer drug development, image diagnostics of diabetic retinopathy, project handbook of AI, and later in 1975, the future founder of biomedical informatics defended his PhD thesis at Stanford. It was Edward Shortfield. His work was one of the early expert systems based on fairly artificial intelligence, written in the Lisp language. The system was called Mycin. The name was the system come from the suffix mycin, often found in the names of antibiotics. This AI assistant was supposed to help the doctor recognize pathogenic bacteria that cause diagnosis conditions such as meningitis or bacterial related blood poisoning, and then prescribe antibiotics and calculate the dosage based on the patient's body weight. The system was based on approximately 600 rules, which helped it to make the right decision in 65% of cases. Doctors at Stanford Hospital gave the correct result in the range of 42.5 and 62.5%. The result of the interns and students of the hospital was even worse, about 30% to 45%. Examples of early studies and uses of machine learning in healthcare will be improvement and optimizing the provision of medical care, improved information management, cognitive support for clinical care and prognostics, early detection of medical risks, risk assessment for individuals, and so on. Progress stalled because the mechanisms needed for the high-performance AI systems didn't yet exist at that time. Two recent mechanisms that have led to the new advances in AI in medicine are availability and access to large volumes of digital health data, and development of graphics processors GPU, which allow massively parallel computations. Let's look at these areas in which machine learning is applicable in modern healthcare. It will be used in screening and diagnosis, adaptive clinical trials, surgical research, home care and smart devices, precision medicine, global medicine, genomics, drug development, robotic devices, and so on. So I guess it will cover all zones of novel medicine. Let's try to identify where not only healthcare competencies are in demand, but also an understanding of machine learning concepts and principles. It will be, of course, for AI developers, technology companies, policymakers and regulators, healthcare leadership, pharmaceutical and medical device industries, advanced therapies, specialists in ethics, patients, caregivers, and so on. We interact with AI algorithms every day. In email, spam filters, retail, e-commerce, government, finance, transportation, manufacturing, autonomous driving, and so on. Unresolved concerns about AI in healthcare are always present. It will be scare of job cuts, atrophy of skills, algorithmic and user bias, patient confidentiality, medical legal responsibility, supervision and regulation for these actions. And now let's try to define the applicable terms, which we are calling what in this area. AI, or artificial intelligence, is a common marketing term that hides a large number of technologies that allow you to delegate part of human functionality to a computer. Strictly speaking, with today's level of technology, it's much more appropriate to use the term that was used back in the USSR and sounds like imitation of artificial intelligence. AI technologies include machine learning, computer vision, speech recognition systems, and text analytics systems. The term machine learning, which is appropriate to talk about in this case, is one of the significant sections of AI technologies. If we're talking about data science, then most often it's about machine learning. Machine learning involves self-learning and development of computer systems using data prepared in advance. The machine receives a set of data and learns to recognize it based on certain characteristics and perform certain operations within it. Ultimately, researchers are aiming for artificial intelligence to be able to answer questions and complete tasks. Machine learning is a family of statistical and mathematical modeling techniques that use various approaches to automatically learn and improve prediction of a target state without explicit programming. The term AI and machine learning are often used hierarchically. The term machine learning is often used by data scientists or practitioners. The term AI is often used for marketing or public awareness purposes. In most cases, the term machine learning is more appropriate. The modern term machine learning and artificial intelligence were coined in the 1950s and 60s. The theory that machine can be created to imitate learning or any other feature of intelligence, it was the idea at that time. Artificial intelligence broadly refers to the development of machine capabilities. The construction of a program model, both in traditional programming and in machine learning, is based on the concept of input and output. That's in this operation, a set of input signals is converted into output signals using some functions. At the same time, if we compare machine learning systems with traditional programming, we will see significant differences. In the case of programming, the programmer knows what input and output will look like. The programmer writes a function that processes input and produces output. Programming and possible solutions are part of the manual effort to internally encode the steps of knowledge required to produce automatic output. Software systems are often called rule-based systems, and machine learning, a function that maps input to outputs, can sometimes be too complex to code by hand. In machine learning, the computer learns a function that maps input to outputs. Instead of relying on programmer to come up with the rules for the function, we instead are using existing input-output pairs to enable learning of the function. This is called training a statistical model. Machine learning is data-driven function learning. Traditional computer programming will require writing of the functions using handwritten code rules, and machine learning relies heavily on patterns recognition and the theory that computers can learn useful relationships in data to make inferences without explicit programming. Learning in machine learning is a reference to the desire to create a model that can learn like a human. through experience and achieve a goal with a little or no external assistance from humans. Machine learning is often anthropomorphized, however, hidden algorithms use mathematical formulations to represent models and seek to learn the parameters in these formulations by tracking them based on the set of observed data. Machine learning has its derivatives and disadvantages. Uncertainty, for example, study the background and light, and it's not the object. Machine learning model trained to identify pneumonia from chest X-ray can rely on artifacts in the images to determine which hospital the X-rays came from. If one hospital has a much higher prevalence rate than another, the model can fool and predict cases of pneumonia with reasonable accuracy, despite knowing nothing about pneumonia. The problem of generating data arrays is also on the table. Healthcare providers have been collecting data for years. Huge amounts of data have been accumulated, but they may be unusable due to lack of agreement formats for collecting and storing data, and the incapacity of machine learning methods, and if these methods are not applicable to this data, it's also will not work. Often the problem can be that the medical data is created continuously, and it will require instant response. While processing by machine methods, it will take a certain amount of time to make these decisions, and it will not work in the environment when we need results to be available just online. One of the significant problems in the medical data is an expiration data. Data becomes outdated to changes in treatment methods, collection protocols, accuracy and speed of devices, and so on. To get started with medical data, it's critical to start with informed information questions. This question may be taken from medical literature or developed in the medical environment or a specific healthcare setting as a clinical question. But you must begin with the development of the question, which will include a detailed analysis of the result of your future model and available actions based on this result. In medicine, the use of machine learning is best of all regulated not as a result but as a means to regulate, to add something, some value in some kind of procedure. And receiving a response from a model always should have some clinical consequences. So for today it's all. Thank you very much for your attention.